Well, hello and welcome to the Corona Aster Alchemy community. I'm Corona Aster, and so good to have you. Welcome to anyone who is new. Welcome back. For those of you who've been following me for a little while here, I have other videos I occasionally do, but for the most part lately, I am doing Chinese and Sidereal Astrology. So yes, it is eclipse season, and I am unfortunately doing this video after the eclipse. I actually did a video on the day of the eclipse and it didn't work. So apparently the eclipse wanted to, eclipse out my video. I don't know. But luckily I have had a smoother run with this eclipse. I know some people are definitely in the thick of it. So sending you much love. And yeah, we are just stepping out of the month of the monkey. It did go through yesterday, or rather through Saturday. And so it does follow that lunar cycle. And so it does always tend to go into that first week of the month for the animal month of, so August, is kind of, it's basically from the second week. Anyway, it just depends on the month, but around the 5th, 6th, 7th is when, or 8th sometimes even, is when that new energy begins. So the new energy of this month just began yesterday on September 7th. I'm recording this as of Monday the 8th. And so, yes, we are now in a Yin Wood Rooster month. And so that is going to be really great for those people that have the monkey, tiger, or snake in their chart. The August month of the monkey was definitely a rough one. And even the last day of the month, Saturday, was particularly challenging because it was another Tiger Day. So it was another one of the ungrateful punishment, the triple fire penalty days that we, some people experience, and that was a little bit rougher energy. So yeah, it's always good to kind of know what days to kind of avoid if you can. But I will be hopefully coming in here a little bit more often to share with you more of the weekly energy, whether with the moon energies and with the Chinese astrology forecast. And I will say that that also yesterday, Sunday, is and was a rabbit day, and it was a yin earth rabbit. Yes, just trying to make sure I was remembering that correctly. And so that was also a clash for the month with the rabbit and the rooster. So with the start of this new month, which just means that September is going to bring a lot of changes. And also with it being a yin wood rooster, the rooster has metal within it, so that metal and wood is also a clash. So double clashing energy this month. Luckily the snake and the rooster have a okay relationship. They're not in fact, they get along really quite well. So anyway, when I talk about the clash energy, I don't want you to be concerned that it's going to be a terrible month. It just means it's going to be a month of change. And, it can be definitely painful change during the moments and time that we're experiencing it. But, there's always lessons to be learned. And in hindsight, we usually have gratitude for these things that we go through. But yeah, so with it being a Yinwood Rooster month, I want to talk about that energy first, and then so the Yinwood energy is just like the year that it's a Yinwood snake year as well. So again, we're coming back to this very creative problem-solving energy that's very growth oriented. Again, there will be lots of change. We will be growing this month. Hopefully, again, it will be a little bit easier for some of us. I also want to recommend that you look into feng shui this month. You'll notice that my backdrop is different because I'm sitting in a different location. And that is definitely on purpose to make sure that I am stimulating the good energies of this month and not the ones that are not conducive to supporting me and and my business. So that is something that I will link to for you below. There's a great YouTuber that I follow that she's got some, you can just look at the different sectors and then you can take a compass and look at your house and yeah, do that accordingly. But the south and the southwest, are the best energies. So definitely sit in those areas of your home, and or if you're going to coffee shops or wherever, restaurants, whenever you're out and about, try to sit in that part of the dining area. Okay, so yeah, that's just a little side note, but yeah, I've been following the feng shui for 7 years now, and I can tell you that it really makes a difference. It is the earth astrology, and the energies are always moving and shifting. And Chinese astrology is also earth astrology. So we are looking at these energies that are moving and that we want to stay in, coherence with. And, unfortunately, some of these tougher energies, they really do impact us. I will briefly share that last year I had a it wasn't called a clash energy, but it was actually an emotional harm energy between my main animal and um, the year of the dragon. So my main one is the rabbit and the dragon can create emotional harm sometimes. And I don't stay overly attached to these ideas. However, I ended up being in two different relationships, dated somebody briefly earlier in the year that ended up being not a good relationship. And then later, the second relationship had difficulties. It was still there were still some really good things and much love, and that was a longer, actually, like more like a relationship, not just dating. And there was a lot of beautiful aspects. So I am still glad that I did it. And we also did have a lot of frustrating issues to work through. So that emotional harm was just one of those energies that, even as much as you can be aware of these things and want to uh, not experience it, it's just something sometimes we experience, whether or not, we have the awareness, or no matter if we're trying and if we've done all kinds of work and we think that we're healed and but it's easy to overlook things at times when, yeah, there's always more to grow, right? So that's just a little, tangent. I know I always appreciate when people share stories personally about themselves that are astrologers. So anyway, I want to go back to, yeah, with the rooster month. Roosters really love to speak out. They want to be heard. They are willing to speak the truth. So this is going to be a month of truth telling. There's a lot more to share on the sidereal astrology side of this as well that I'll get to shortly. Along with this, it'll be very nice to go hand in hand. But yeah, roosters, um, also kind of like a dragon, they can have quite a good ability to have a good vision and really see how to get to the heart of the matter and get something done. And they just are very analytical and really can figure out a lot of things. So really quite masterminds, and they can be kind of it can also be a little bit of a solitary energy because they are so analytical, and yeah, they just can tend to be a little bit of loners. But so there is that energy of this month, possibly. So that can invite us to go inward. Uh, and so creative problem solving with the yin wood energy would be, yeah, spending more time in nature, spending more time doing things on your own. You can still, of course, do things in community because of the yin wood snake year. This is still a really good opportunity to like go to events. You can do things like a sound bath or something. So, maybe it's just something where, like, I offer channeling with trees classes where you don't have to necessarily do a lot of talking, but you're going to be in a community of people, right? And so, um, yeah, so that is something. And I will link my classes below here that are coming up. I do have one Tuesday evening with the channeling with trees. I'll talk about some other classes here soon, but also, I'm going to be offering a vision quest. So that is something September 19th through the 21st, if you're in the area. Another great way to, yeah, just go within and, find some solutions on your own, right? I hold space for people to do that. But you could also just go camping by yourself if you feel comfortable doing that. Or, yeah, so any kind of meditation retreat or something like that would be just, yeah, meditating in general is going to be And that could look like many different things. Uh, yeah, it's going to be a really great thing. But yeah, that could be walking meditations. That can be forest bathing, right? That can be, of course, a more traditional sitting meditation. I like to do yoga as a meditation. So qigong, these different mindful movements are also very meditative. Cooking can be very meditative. Cleaning can actually be meditative. Playing an instrument, there's a lot of hobbies, painting, etc., can be very meditative. So I think we definitely think sometimes that we have to do a sitting meditation, and some of us are not built to do that, and or just are not going to do it, and or just you don't. And so it's like, well, if you're not, then what could be that meditation? And or if you're in a space in life with young kids or a ton of things going on, then washing the dishes is probably your best meditation right now, or vacuuming, or whatever it is that, that chore that you enjoy. Cleaning the bathroom, like it can feel really good to have those clean spaces, organizing things, doing the laundry. Those are still very purposeful, meaningful things that feed our soul. It may sound mundane and like things that we don't want to do. And some of us are more inclined to doing them than others, right? Because of our personality. But yeah, I just want you to lean into the idea of that kind of meditation. And so with this energy also beginning on a Yin Earth Rabbit Day, I want us to look at really thinking about how we're taking action. And so I say that because the rabbit, can really take time to pause and be cautious. And it really wants to be strategic. And then when it knows it wants to do something, it's going to go for it. It's going to run, it's going to leap. And so you can really take action when you know that you have that clear vision. So that's with the Yin Earth. The other thing to do with that would be just nurturing. It's, a very nurturing energy that's very fatherly, motherly. So anything that's going to be nurturing ourselves. I'm always going to talk about getting out and doing your earthing, but, really cooking, I feel like, is really going to be a great thing to do, or making just, simple foods, salads and whatnot. But, it is harvest season. Mars is in Virgo. We are still having that ability to go forward with things that are health related. So yeah, that is our invitation for the month from the Chinese astrology perspective. And now I want to show you the chart. So I'm going to share my screen momentarily. And okay, so again, this is as of noon Mountain Time. I reside in Mountain, Boise, Idaho. And so, adjust your clocks accordingly, but I think we've all been through the eclipse by now, and the energies of the eclipse, of course, are still going to be rippling out. So that is good for us to know. Just as a reminder, eclipses, we feel them a couple of weeks before the first eclipse, and then we feel them a couple of weeks after the last eclipse. So this is our lunar eclipse. Things that have been coming into your life they're important things. Excuse me, I've got a tickle. That we need to take notice of. There could be people that are coming in. Excuse me, I'm going to take a drink. People that could be leaving our lives. There can be opportunities coming in. Again, sometimes these things are behind the scene, and sometimes it's like these connections that are being made and different things that are happening. But it will be something that will shift for us in the coming 6 months. And so we will find ourselves shifting usually a little bit later on, although sometimes just depends on again, our individual astrology. If we'll have something that'll happen like even on the day of the eclipse and or soon right after or right before. But, it tends to be that we don't see these things for a little while. So we can sometimes think, oh, this eclipse didn't affect me. And then, 3 months later, you have that breakup. Or 4 months later, you get the new job, or 5 months later, you get the notice that, your job is going away. So these are these big life-changing things that eclipses bring in. It's also death, can happen. It's bigger event, getting pregnant, having, the impetus to be like, I'm going to start my new business, or, these big things that we that we do. So it's very important to take note of who is coming into your life and what. I would definitely journal as much as you can around this time. And so, again, I'm doing this from a sidereal point of view. I do believe that Western and sidereal are very beautiful to go hand in hand. Actually, to be honest, I obviously at times resonate more with the sidereal, but I think that you can look at truth in both, and that they both can be a good way to look at what is happening in the world for all of us collectively. And it can really make sense to us individually. And sometimes we'll resonate with one more than the other during a certain cycle. So, there's some Western astrologers that I still follow, and that is my background. I did study it for many, 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 many years. And I also have an evolutionary astrology background. So I'll speak to things from that level as well. But yeah, I want to point out that, of course, the moon is in Aquarius. And so, with the moon being in Aquarius, this is the energy of the collective with the moon. And so, this is really pointing out our desire to, do things that are for humanity, that are the good for all of our community, for all people. And with the North Node being conjuncted also in Aquarius, this is also about the mind. And the Aquarius is about this conjunction of like the metaphysics and science. So this bridging of the two. And the Aquarian archetype is really able to meld the two in a really positive way. And so I feel like this is an opportunity that we could have this come about. Hopefully, I am always, rooting for people, us having the higher octave energy. And I think we are at a choice point in humanity with AI. And so it is going to be up to us, to do our inner work and to be leaders in this world. I think the people that watch my video that are into astrology tend to be either leaders in their community in some way or another, and or just on this spiritual journey of looking at doing the shadow work, looking at themselves. And so which is beautiful, and thank goodness, thank you all. And we're all on different paths here too, of course, but yeah, so the North Node Rahu can also be about materialism, and that lower octave energy of Aquarius can, be very uncaring, detached, this megalomaniac energy. So obviously, hopefully the community, the people will choose that higher energy of going towards our higher evolution of the North Node, of going towards being in power and authority, but being in it in a balanced way, using our power in a way that is for the good of all, that is good for the good of all humanity. So I do believe that is where we are headed, and I'm going to cheer us on in that direction. But that is kind of one of the choice points that we are currently at. And so we have the sun in Leo, and it is conjunct Rahu, or excuse me, K2, the south node. And so with that, that actually can be really positive for leaders. So the sun can represent leadership. Also, Leo is a sign of kings and rulers. So there is definitely something going on with leaders in the world at this time. And I do hope and believe that there is a spiritual awakening happening with the K2 conjunction here. It's helping dissolve that ego. Again, this is a higher octave energy that I think that is possible. And even if we are seeing and hearing things that seem really negative right now, I mean, K2 can also be about illusions. And so we may or may not be really getting the truth with the media, because also Jupiter is in Gemini, and so it can expand communications and media. But even, typically Jupiter is this benefic energy. And so personally, I think it can be really positive, but it could blow up also, things that are possibly not true in the media, especially with, Saturn and Neptune being conjunct still. Neptune uh, being in Pisces. So, I mean, there is still some things, to do with media that are kind of being hidden from us. And there's a transformational aspect still happening, and it could be a shocking transformation that will be happening. I've talked about this same thing with the Uranus and Pluto um, being in this trine to one another, and then also in this sextile to Saturn and Uranus. And so we definitely have some things that are, yeah, I mean, right on time as always. I mean, this is part of life. Now, if you've been feeling emotional, we did have Chiron, this opposition of Chiron to Mars. And so that could bring up things with when we're trying to move forward. There can be woundings, there can be things that we have to work through, that we need to be pioneers about, that we have to work through independently, with Chiron being in Aries. And it can sometimes have to do more with our health, with Mars being in Virgo. It can also have to do with our, like, a priestess energy, a feminine energy, needing to heal something to do with that. And yes, so let me go back over to Mercury. It's not exactly, I would not say it's conjunct the sun. It is in Leo. So Mercury in Leo, I mean, this is a good placement for Mercury. It definitely wants to speak up, express itself, so we can be speaking more clearly and being able to express ourselves in a way that hopefully we're being heard. Um, of course, also, though, it's almost an opposition to, so we may not have been feeling as much that possibly during the eclipse time, but yeah, Mercury in Leo is overall going to be positive. It's going to, again, the leadership is going to be, there's going to be more speaking up and speaking out on things. And yeah, people that are leaders in the world expressing their truth. And let's move over to the Venus energy. So Venus is in Cancer still, so very lovely energy here. And so I want to talk about how Venus in Cancer loves to nurture and be nurtured. And so we may really desire to have a partner or person in our life, like, really be able to meet our needs. And it is square to Black Moon Lilith. And so I do think that there is going to be some hidden aspects of ourselves where if we aren't getting our needs met, that we could be really feeling like we really want and need that nurturing, and that we aren't going to keep settling for this energy any longer. This can be for men or women with Black Moon Lilith. Okay. So it can be just, again, this need to be seen and heard and to be held, and whatever it is that you need. If those things have not been getting met, we can feel very frustrated and grouchy and grumpy with Venus in Cancer, and then be a little bit passive aggressive. So hopefully with this Mercury in Leo, we're able to express a little bit better, but it is a little bit tricky with Venus in Cancer to speak up and say, this is what I really need. So just, try to work on that. I also offer a conscious communication class that I'm doing September 15th. I'm going to put that link below, because we do really need to work on how to say things in a loving and kind way. And yeah, so that is just something else. And yeah, with this Black Moon Lilith energy square, yeah, there's desires and passions that have been suppressed and that want to come forward and that want to be seen and heard. And, we all need to really look at these shadow aspects of ourselves so that we can be, yeah, fully embodied and be more healed and whole. And yeah, I did mention that Jupiter is in Gemini. So, but what I want to say is, just for us collectively, that again, this is that benefic energy that will help us to communicate really well. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so that communication will be enhanced. It's also, um, well, it's, yeah, so we could have a tendency to possibly go into some old habits around communication. So again, let's all try to work on better communication. I really recommend Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication. That is who I have studied under, and that is the basis of the classes that I teach. So just for reference, you can find that book out there on audio, or you can buy a book as well. So anyway, let's see what else. Let's move over to, I mean, I did briefly talk about this again too, but this Saturn Neptune conjunction is still continuing, and just want to make sure, but I see everything to say about this. And again, this is a long-term conjunction. We will have this until I believe February of next year. Can't remember the exact dates. And so this is, these are definitely points that we're going to, yeah. So with them being in Pisces, it is helping us to go into a more compassionate place with there's with ourselves. I mean, honestly, with the hard work that we have to do, we can be like, it is hard work, but we can probably be a little bit more patient and easier on ourselves, or notice if we've been harder on ourselves with this Saturn in Pisces. So that's really beautiful. And there can also be things that can be kind of kept from us. We could still have a tendency towards wanting to go into fantasy or go into the illusion or fall into addictions with these, especially Neptune and Pisces. That's that lower octave energy. But then again, higher octave is just having that love for all, and that even beyond hope, just really just that security and knowing that all is going to be well in the world. I'm just going to check my notes to see what else I wanted to share. So, oh yes, so I did also want to point out that Jupiter is trine Black Moon Lilith, and so that is also just again helping us to speak out. Maybe I did already say that, but I know I was talking about both of them, but I thought it was on a different aspect. But so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but that is going to, again, enhance our ability to speak up and speak out on things that have been suppressed. And then even the moon and Rahu are trine to Black Moon Lilith. So we are this wild, untamed parts of ourselves. It's wanting to come up. There's been a lot that has been happening with Black Moon Lilith this year. It's a really big year of all of us collectively growing in this way of no longer holding back our truths, our passions, our needs, the true intimacy that we need from others and from ourselves, and really just doing that shadow work. So it's beautiful. It's not always the easiest energy, of course, but it's definitely a beautiful thing. So and it's with Black Moon Lilith, it's still in Libra, and so that's wonderful because it's desiring this balance that's really supportive for us all. And so we've have this beautiful kite energy, as you can see I've been talking about. So we have this trine also with Jupiter to the moon and Rahu. So again, I think that can hopefully just again help dissolve ego and bring in good communication with leaders. And I'm seeing that as the positive stuff. So Uranus is still in Taurus, and as I have said before, we're still going to be probably experiencing a lot more earthquakes and earth shakeups this year. And just again, there can be still more unexpected transformational things. This can really have to do with the money system. There is a lot of talk about that. So it'll be interesting to see what transforms or happens in the near future with that, and with Pluto being in Capricorn. So it's about structures and those big structures and so Capricorn is that CEO energy, and so it can be transforming these bigger structures also, and hopefully there is, some positive breakdowns of some of these old things that need to fall apart. I think they are, and they will continue to, and it's going to take some time. And I think that is, let's see if I had anything else to say that I might have missed. I think that was, yeah, I think I covered it all. So I do want to say with, yeah, again, all of this moon Lilith energy that I spoke about, and some of these other things that I have shared. Um, I do have a class that is coming up, and not it's just a class, excuse me. I have a group coming up that is about, this is for women. So this is about women that are in relationships that maybe are feeling like there could be a transition, and maybe it's just that they need to gain better relationship with themselves, could be better relationship with their partner, or possibly that they will be transitioning out of this partnership. So if that feels like you, or if this sounds like somebody please send them my way. I have a group that's going to begin in October, and it's going to be really an amazing empowerment women's circle that I'll be leading us through over Zoom, so we can meet around the world here together and support one another. But yeah, I'm going to be leading us with the 4 pillars of mindset, energy, the body, and then know thyself. So that would be like conscious communication, knowing our needs and our values, getting ourselves off the fear triangle, all these different things. And there's a lot more to say about that, but I'll again have a link below. So yeah, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be here with you today. And take good care. And please like this video, and please share it with a friend. Yeah, let me know where you're from. Let me know how you're doing, how the eclipse has been for you. Sending you lots of good wishes. I am going to send you some blessings from Mount Shasta energy. I am home now, but the root chakra of the world held me very sweetly, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you, and have a beautiful day, and we'll talk real soon. Bye for now.